You're very welcome back to Ireland AM. Now, whether it's your wife or mother, your sister or girlfriend, it's not easy to get it spot on when it comes to stocking fillers for the women in your life at Christmas time, but you can't go too far wrong with the good old reliable, the book. Well, from novels to beauty bibles, our book reviewer Kieran Grimes has something to cater for everybody in his top 5 picks for female readers. Thank you very much for coming in, Kieran.
No problem.
You've had your work cut out for you, really, in this. I'm not sure if it's your usual forte, women's books.
I have had my work cut out, but I've actually really enjoyed it. The 5 books that I have picked, they're quite light-hearted and humorous, so perfect for the Christmas period. I mean, the first one is a book called Sonas. It's Celtic thoughts on happiness, and it's a nice type. It's a very good idea. It's basically this lady, Catherine Conlon, she wanted to get to the root of what happiness is for people. So she approached people who she really admires, well-known Irish celebrities, some lesser well-known, just to find out what motivates them, what's their inspiration, where they derive their happiness from. So it's kind of a feel-good, a nice little reflective book for Christmas, and you can dip in and out of it at will. And
there's some lovely contributors.
There's some lovely contributors. I mean, there's Anita Notaro, for example. She
we know her well for her.
Yes,
book
for being on here, and she had breast cancer, and for her, happiness was getting the all clear and the recovery. Mary O'Rourke, TD, for her, her husband has passed away, and for her, she gets her happiness from her children and her grandchildren. That's what she derives. But each, it's just not as simple as that. They each have they expand on that with interesting stories.
This is what all these people think happiness is for them.
What happiness, and absolutely. And
I just see Vincent Brown's in this. It'd be interesting to see what happiness is for him. Maybe the entire government resigning. I don't know.
Maybe. David Norris actually is quite funny. For him, he likes to work for injustices and to get rid of negativity. But one thing he also says, he also finds the squeals of his opponents quite stimulating, and he gets a lot of happiness and
in the Senate.
Yes, and a kick out of that, or whatever I suppose issue he is fighting for. He just that's what gives him happiness, is kind of eradicating injustices. But it's filled with there's other people like Dorina Allen, Sheila O'Flanagan, Seamus Heaney as well, Kathy Kelly, Garrett Fitzgerald, some very interesting people, and what they kind of derive happiness from. So it's a very thoughtful book, and the thing is, you can pick it up, dip in and out of it. Each kind of contribution is about a page and a half, so you don't have to read the whole thing from start to finish. So you can pick it up and put it down, pick it up and put it down.
So if you feel like a bit of cheering up, that's the one to do.
Exactly.
That's called Sonas.
Sonas.
Celtic thoughts on happiness.
And Sonas is the Irish word, I think, for happiness. So that's where that comes from.
And now our next one is Marian, and you can't really have a top 5 Christmas book list for women without Marian.
Well, exactly.
She's brilliant.
She's brilliant. I mean, this is, I think, her 11th novel in the last 14 years. So she has produced a lot of work, and I think practically every woman in the country has a book or has read a book. And the good thing with Marian is that her main characters are usually women. But very strong women who do deal with brokenness and very kind of meaty issues, but she does it in a very humorous way. This particular book is really interesting. It's about the occupants of an apartment block, or a huge big Georgian house in the fiction. I think it's a fictional street. It's number 66 Star Street in Dublin. It is where it's set.
Hence the name, the brightest star in the sky. Hence the name,
the brightest star in the sky. And it's a big Georgian building, and I think there are about 8 people living in different apartments. But what's quite clever about this story is who it's told by. It's not so much an original idea, but it's a kind of a nice, clever twist on it. And I can't give away who tells the story, but at the beginning, you're left thinking it's a ghost, because this particular person, from their point of view, they go between the floorboards, they go between the walls, they get into people's heads, they go into the people's pasts. So you get this impression, is this a ghost that's telling the story? But at the end, it's not really, and it's a very clever twist on that kind of ghostly type narrative. It has been done before, but she puts a very nice twist at the end.
Not quite the Lovely Bones, but that sort of feel to it.
Well, exactly. It's not quite that, but it's a bit more of an uplifting.
But Marian Keyes, she might have the most tragic stories, but they're told in such a humorous way, and it's such a beautiful way as well, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, that book, deals with dementia a little bit, but it's perfect for the festive.
Very heartwarming.
It is.
Very heartwarming.
Very heartwarming.
Jodi Picoult, which I have to say, I love her books. They make me a little bit sad sometimes, because there's always a bit of a tragic story in there. She's recently famous, of course, again for the screen adaptation of My Sister's Keeper, which Cameron Diaz was in. But now we have This Picture Perfect.
Picture Perfect. It's
a festive-looking book.
Yeah, I mean, she actually originally released this in 1995, so it's been given another release. And yes, it's about this woman. She basically lives in LA. She is married to a famous celebrity, a very well-known actor. But one day she wakes up lying on top of a grave. And she doesn't know how she got there. She suffers from amnesia, and she doesn't know who she is or what has happened and why she's ended up. She woke up lying on top of a grave. So a police officer obviously finds her. He takes her under his wing. He is half Native American Indian, so he basically kind of protects her until somebody comes forward and identifies her. So, but as it turns out, her husband does come forward. She goes back to her mansion in Bel Air, but as time goes on, her memory starts coming back as to what happened, and various things happen that she kind of realizes, okay, things are not as what they seem, and that she falls for this police officer. And
the love triangle and everything's happening.
Exactly. So again, it's a lovely read as well.
Brilliant. Now, I have to say, our fourth book on our list today is the Beaut.ie Guide to Gorgeous, and I have to say, for any woman out there who, most women like something about makeup, hair, beauty. It's an absolute Bible. It's brilliant, and I know you were a bit shocked by some of the
well,
you know, it's on the website, of course.
Yes,
Beaut.ie. So all these tips are in this book.
Absolutely, and it's hilarious. But what I find very interesting, it's unbelievable what you ladies do to get gorgeous. There's some things that I was reading that I was like, oh my God, it's
double dipping traumatized. You tell me.
Well, double dipping. I literally was looking through it. I go, what is double dipping? And it's all to do with waxing and the spatula that they use to put the hot wax on. You know, you shouldn't reuse that. It's disposable.
Because the germs will go back into the wax pot.
That's the thing. And
it's sense.
Absolutely. So they speak about double dipping. But she also goes into waxing, and there's a few people write in and want to know, well, what do you have to do for a Brazilian or, some very humorous thing. But she also what I find really, really, really surprising.
You flummoxed by it all.
I was flummoxed by this particular thing where it's down below dyeing. It's for women to, match the cuffs and collar. Which I didn't. I couldn't.
This is breakfast TV.
Well, I know, but I just.
I haven't even heard of that one.
Well, I hadn't heard of that, but down below dying was something that I was like, oh my God.
I think we should have drawn the line under the whole double dipping thing and not gone any further. But if you can imagine, if that's the sort of stories it is, it's humorous. It's not
very, very funny. But also, it gives perfect grooming tips for women that don't cost the earth.
Brilliant. So it's a budget buy, so you can fix yourself without going to the salon.
All over, not just your face.
All over, I love that. So you don't have to do it. I would imagine the home DIY jobs wouldn't be that good, though, if you're considering doing what you mentioned earlier. And I'm going to move very, very quickly on to our last book. It's Romantic Irish Homes. We don't have time to go through it now, but it's just a lovely book. It's a table book, really.
Yes, there's 15 fantastic homes across the country that are photographed. Some have never been photographed before. And it's just interesting to see inside people's homes and the interior design, and what's interesting is the character of Irish homes and what makes us unique.
Yeah, so it's a pretty picture book about Irish
exactly,
homes.
And a big coffee table book as well.
Yeah, I'm still going to go through the Beaut.ie book myself anyway. And don't worry, we're not forgetting about the men. Kieran will be back with his pick of the best books for the male bookworms out there at the same time next week. I don't think the content will be quite the same though, Kieran. Thanks a million for coming in. Now we'll be back with all your news, sport and weather and more. That's after the break.